Hello.
Hello, and welcome to Hear Me
Hear me
Roar.
roar.
Today we are talking menopause, and that's going to be
Yeah.
interesting.
Strap in,
Yeah,
ladies.
I know. Well, not ladies, men, because we have we've just interviewed James, so we're recording this just minutes after we've finished interviewing. Now, I will admit that I went into this interview with a slight degree of skepticism,
Oh, me too.
thinking James is going to talk to us about andropause and midlife for men.
Yeah.
And
Basically, the male
yeah,
menopause.
yeah. And I tried really hard. I'm going to keep an open mind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But beforehand, I was thinking to myself, really?
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Are they just nicking our
Nicking hands
menopause?
off our
Yeah,
menopause.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I was thinking, please convince me
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that this is something real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to listen to this and you are going to know that it is real
I
because,
absolutely
yeah,
convinced us.
yeah,
Absolutely.
completely, absolutely brilliant episode this week.
Yeah. Fantastic guy to
Yeah.
listen to.
Yeah, and it's the kind of that everything he says, I just want to take my husband and make him and put earphones on him
Yeah.
and
Make him
say,
listen.
sit there, listen. So that was absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you have to go into something open-minded and being prepared to listen and learn. And boy,
Yeah.
did we learn,
Yeah.
and boy, did we listen.
Yeah. But the bit where he talked about your willy dropping off, that's
That came as a
yeah,
shock.
that was. Just joking, anybody listening.
You've now put all the men off from listening.
Oh my
Hey,
gosh. But yeah, but for men, I think this is a really good one because James has
brilliant
got some
one.
absolutely fantastic tips. So James is an associate member of the International Society, put my teeth back in, for coaching psychologists, author of the Midlife Male Handbook, men's health advocate and public speaker. That's what he does. So with his wife Claire, he hosts the podcast the Midlife Mentors, which is in the top 1.5% of global podcast charts. Blah, blah, blah. Aiming to redefine midlife from a crisis into an opportunity. That's a good one. James mentors clients using his experience in psychology, NLP, that's neuro linguistic programming for people like me that can't talk properly. Because I seem to be tripping over my
You
words here.
do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Stress management, personal training, nutrition, and life business coaching. His own midlife challenges impacted on his physical and mental health. So, through championing the Andropause, he's giving men over 40 the tools they need to make meaningful change to their lives. So, this is James Davis.
Yep.
Let's go
Let's
and
go
meet
meet
him.
him. Hi, James.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's great. We met at Pause Live,
Mm.
and I know you've met Marie before.
At Pause
Yeah,
Live.
where we also met your lovely wife Claire as well.
Yeah.
So, but we are going to be talking to you today about the menopause. And that's your area of expertise. But before we get there, we'd like to ask you a bit about how you came into having some expertise in this area. So, how did you get into all the coaching and andropause world?
It's a great question. I mean, it wasn't linear by any means. I kind of came full circle on it. So I was fascinated by human behavior, psychology. Why do we behave the way we do? Why are people so different? So I studied psychology for my first degree, then did a master's in applied psychology and actually started working as a psychologist for a short space of time. But my attention was also diverted by wanting to be a writer and particularly a journalist for lifestyle magazines. I know
Yeah.
that they're kind of dead in the water these days, but back in, this was the early 90s, we had all these great titles. So
Yeah.
I was on the side. I was heavily into my dance music and clubbing, so I was writing bits and pieces. And then Ministry of Sound basically contacted me and said they had a media project. Would I be interested? Because they seen what I was doing. So
Oh,
I walked out
wow.
of my psychology job, and I was part of the team that launched Ministry of Sound's Ministry magazine. So I was
Wow.
Wow.
actually, a full-time journalist, magazine journalist, and then gradually my career shifted more into a corporate role. So, but it always kept my interest in health. I was still like a regular gym goer. And then in 2011, I thought, right, okay, let's try something different. So I moved to Ibiza to set up a retreats company. And the idea at the time was to kind of turn the model on its head. So back then, retreats seem to be very, very much focused on weight loss, right? They come get you in a
Mm.
villa, feed you rice and beans and beast
Yeah,
you hard,
starve
and
you.
yeah, yeah, you lost weight, but it wasn't fun. And then when you got home, you put
Mm.
it back on again. So I was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
let's partner with 5-star hotels. Let's yes have a healthy menu, but also if you want to order burger and drink beer, that's fine too. Because we're going to talk to you about nutritional principles. We're going to talk to you about where your belief systems are getting you stuck, as well as working you out and giving you lots
Mm.
of exercise. So that business was 38 Degrees North. It was really hard the first couple of years, but then it kind of took off. We had loads of celebrities. It was really great. And through that period, I just continually learned. So I had been a gym instructor when I was at university, but then I requalified as a personal trainer. I got qualifications in gut health, sports nutrition, hormone health, became a menopause practitioner. It's just been an ongoing journey. Diploma in Jungian psychology to add to my psychology, obviously NLP qualifications. And that grew and grew and grew until COVID obviously shut the world down. So we're heading into our best ever season on paper, like 85% booked for the season with the most dates we'd ever put on. And we had to sadly refund everyone
No.
their deposits.
Oh,
And that was that. So we're like, okay,
nightmare.
my wife Claire and I were like, what do we do? In 2019, we'd actually started a podcast called the Midlife Mentors because
Mhm.
it actually came from seeing a lot of our clients were kind of late 30s, 40s, 50s. We're seeing lots of similar things present, but also the age we were at, a lot of our friends were kind of like, oh, we know it's just the beginning of the end. There's not really anything you can do. And we're like, oh, no, it doesn't have to be like that, because we're
No.
engrossed in the science, reading the articles and journals. So we started the podcast with that. So when COVID came along, we're like, okay, well, let's design a coaching program that's specifically for people in midlife. So that became the Midlife Reset. And we ran that really successfully all the way through to about, I think we closed it at the end of 2024. So now we have the Midlife Mentors. I say Claire and I are kind of less codependent, more interdependent now. I tend to work mainly with men in midlife, Claire mainly with women, but then we do come together and do a lot of workshops and talks together as well.
Mm.
In the last kind of 6 months, corporate work's become really big for us. Going in, delivering workshops, running programs for executives, leadership, performance programs, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you had some struggles with your when you hit midlife and that it impacted on your physical and your mental health.
Mm.
Can you tell us about that a bit?
Yeah, so I actually had two, I guess, keystone moments, and the first was in Ibiza in 2014. So I'd moved to Ibiza and set up the business with my first wife, and then just out the blue, she suddenly turned around and said one day and said, "I just don't want to do this anymore. I want a divorce."
Wow.
And that was that, and it was completely unexpected to me.
Mhm.
So I was effectively left in Ibiza trying to run the business, feeling like crushed. Like my confidence was on the
Mhm.
floor. I was in my 40s already, so I was kind of like, wow, we've been together I think 16 or 17 years. So I'm like,
Gosh.
wow, where do I go from here? So that was a real battle and a journey to pull myself back. And what I learned from that was like, I had a lot of the tools myself, but I was so emotionally clouded, it was difficult to actually see to use them. I learned that to lean into support and lean into help and get support. And then I could start to use the tools myself and pull myself out and round and transform and start thinking about, okay, well, who do I want to be and where do I go forward from here? So that was
Mhm.
actually turned into something really empowering. And then I met Claire because we both come out of divorces and we were later in life and we just clicked. We're like, okay, let's just go for it. So we got
Mhm.
married and continued running the business. As I was approaching 50, so like 3 years ago now, Claire actually noticed it. She's like, "Oh yeah, you just seem to have lost your mojo a bit. You're just like you're isolating. You don't really want to do. The business was
Mhm.
really successful. We were successful on paper. We were doing really well, like loads of clients. It wasn't really sparking me up. I just had no get up and go. And I was like, oh, what do I want to do? What do I want to do next? And I kind of got stuck in this stasis. And I thought, well, this is really interesting. At the time, I was delivering a whole program for a big city bank, a global bank, all around men's health. And I thought, this is so fascinating. Like, I'm talking about all this stuff and I'm actually going through it myself now. And
Yeah.
then one of the guys on it, we got to the end of the program. He's like, oh, this has been incredible. There's been so much information, but where is all this info? Is there a book you can recommend? And I was like, oh, I've been toying with the idea, But I thought, okay, this is a sign. I'm going through it myself. This guy's asking. There are no books out there really on what's happening to men at midlife. So that was, I toyed around with the idea before, but that was really the spur to get in and get writing. And then, of course, that becomes a long process of writing, drafting, sending out proposals, finding a publisher. And I was lucky enough to actually, to find a great publisher that believed in it and supported it. And yeah, it came out at March this year.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well,
No, go on, you go.
I was going to ask, what topics does your book cover?
So we talk about the andropause, so age-related testosterone decline and the impact that can have on men. But I wanted it to be broader than that because I think, yes, testosterone can play a role for some men at midlife, but also I think, we can reflect. It becomes a time when we naturally take stock, we look back, and certainly for a lot of the men I coach, they're high performers, but they're maybe like, wow, I just think I've given too much away. I'm not sure that what I've got was worth what I've lost. Or they're like, I just feel so unfulfilled. I've got everything I thought I wanted, but I feel really unfulfilled. I wanted to cover this whole thing of like, where do we look at our values? Where are our social connections? Because there's lots of, I did tons of research for this book. All the data says men have smaller social networks than women to start with, and they get smaller and smaller as they age. They isolate more and more. Men
My
tend,
husband, you're just making me think completely of him when you're saying that.
yeah,
But he's like, he's never needed a lot of friends, a large group of friends,
mm,
but he's pretty much sticks to the same few now.
yeah. But it's
I
great he's
think
got some.
I think
Yeah.
women in general are more, and that's a sweeping generalization,
Mm,
obviously, but I think women are generally more sociable. I mean, if I think about all our friends, they've all come from me standing on a schoolyard chatting to mums waiting to pick children up, and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
That's how women make a lot of
mm,
connections, and then you make friends, and the friends have husbands, and then you all
Yeah.
meet up, and then so that's how you get a lot of friends, and that's how men, I think, have a lot
But
of
yeah.
friendship, because it's come through the woman.
But I think
yeah,
like
I think that's true.
my husband has three friends. So they meet up, right? Once every few months they go for a pint together, and that's their socializing done for the
That's it,
quarter.
done.
Yeah, yeah. But this is what happens, right? You make a good point. A lot of men define their identity in terms of their career, and their, in inverted
Yeah,
commas, friends are from their career or from their wives or partners. So the social circle shrinks. At the same time, they can start to struggle with, who am I? What is my identity now? The physicality starts to affect them. I'm losing my physical strength. I'm putting on weight. I'm not liking what I see in the mirror. Maybe they've got issues with libido as well. And these can all start to play all psychological triggers.
Yeah.
So it can be a really tough time. And that's borne out by the statistics that the highest suicide cohort, unfortunately, is midlife men, 50 to 54. And the rate of
Oh my
wow,
suicide
gosh.
is almost 5 times that of women of all ages, which is staggering.
gosh,
Yeah.
I didn't
I
know that.
didn't know.
Yeah. So I really wanted, the purpose of the book was really to, because men don't open up and talk about it, was to give them a framework to understand why they might be feeling the way they're feeling, and then give them practical tools for what they could do to kind of pull themselves through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's in general, again, something else that men don't do as well as women. They don't talk about their feelings as much. I mean, we'll sit over a coffee or a cocktail and we'll just,
Yeah.
blurt it all out
So
about how we're feeling. Men don't tend to do that, do they? Because I don't know, society thinks they have to be men,
Mm.
and
But men are also fixers. And again,
yeah,
generalizing
Mm.
here, but men see a problem and go, right, steps A, B, and C sorted, walk away.
yeah,
This is a really good point about communication styles, and that's so true. It's
Yeah.
something I hear all the time. Women will express a problem to their partner. They're not. Man is like, oh right, I need to figure out how to solve this. Actually, they just want you to listen, not
yeah,
solve.
Yeah.
But there's a paradox here, I think, when it comes to health and self. Again, I'm going to do sweeping generalizations, but women will get together and talk about what's going on for them with their mental, physical health, what's working for them, what's not. Oh, I've tried this HRT, or I've tried this, I've tried that. Men will just have the surface level conversations. It's like, oh, I'm all right, I'll keep quiet.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they just sort of push it down,
Yeah,
don't they? And
yeah,
and that needs to come out really
it
Yeah.
for their
does. Yeah,
mental health.
yeah.
So your book's called The
Mm.
Midlife Male Handbook. And so, right, so all good bookstores, Amazon, all the rest of it.
Amazon, Waterstones, Smiths, Borders. Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Wow.
So You and your wife, you both work in similar fields and similar subjects. So how does that work between you? Are you sort of bouncing off each other a lot?
Yeah, well, I'd say it was a very steep learning curve when we got together because we got together into a relationship and we were working together. She moved to Ibiza to come into the retreats business. We were running that together. Then we launched the Midlife Mentors together, that coaching program. We delivered it together. So it was very intensive and we had to figure out each other's working styles and strengths and weaknesses. And we've done that now.
Mm,
I think we realized, a couple of years ago, it actually led to a very unhealthy degree of codependence. So work started to leak out into personal areas of life as well. So we made a
mm,
conscious effort to kind of step
mm.
back and work out how we could be more interdependent, interconnected. So, and that's worked really nicely now. Like, yes, we're in the same space, but often we're working on completely different things with different clients, and then we will come together and do stuff like we'll talk at shows and deliver corporate workshops together, but then also do our own individual stuff as well.
Yeah, and I suppose that when you come together, at a very basic level, it gives you things to talk about.
Absolutely, and when we were working together on the same things, we had to be really careful about setting boundaries for that. So that was something we're very mindful of. Like, okay, work switches off here, and we don't talk about it because the
Mm,
Good.
temptation is, when you're both in the same doing the same thing together, and that's your livelihood. It's just kind of like 24/7. So we're
yeah,
really careful to start guarding that.
As
yes.
uh, as someone who works closely with our husband, I totally get that.
Yeah.
So let's just take take you back to what we've said in your bio. You say that you use NLP when
hmm
mentoring clients. Can you explain for our listeners what NLP means?
Yeah, it's just one of the tools I use. So NLP is neuro linguistic programming, and it came out of the work of hypnosis and hypnotherapy as a way to use language as a shortcut to reprogram beliefs and behaviors essentially. And the neat thing is you can actually match it up with physical interactions as well. So there's certain cues, we'll have for example, we have a very basic level, we have a style. People will be either auditory, kinesthetic, visual, yeah,
Uh,
kinesthetic or visual, right? So you listen to someone, they say, oh, I've heard this story, I hear this thing, listen to this. Right, you're an auditory style person, so I need to adapt my speech to be auditory. If they're going, oh, I see these things, I look at that, I look at it, oh, you're visual. It's like, oh, I
uh,
feel these things, or my emotions, it's like, oh, you're kinesthetic. So it's just things like that. And you can use what I like to use it for is kind of like one of the most powerful tools is future rehearsal. From the word of neuroscience, so we used to think this was quite woo-woo, right? When people talk about, visualize your future. And back in the 70s, there were always books like, oh, visualize it. And I was like, oh, actually, neuroscience has proven it now. They can do brain scanning and see which areas of the brain light up. I've actually found that if we imagine vividly enough, our brain doesn't actually know the difference between imagination and real thing. So if we
oh,
mentally rehearse where we're going to be, what we want our life to look like, we're actually priming our subconscious to step into it. And if you want a practical example of this is why you'll see things like skiers at the top of the slope when they're racing. You'll see them like actually swaying and moving. They're running the course in their imagination first. Tennis players will play the match in their heads. It's through
wow.
sport. It's massively used. So it's a really, really powerful tool just to keep taking people to like, okay, a year from now, tell me what you're wearing, what the smells around you, and you can like build the picture for them. That's just one of many many tools.
All
Wow.
right, interesting. Really
Yeah, I
interesting.
Mm.
Because we interviewed Michelle from Two Women Chatting, and she was talking about her board. Do you remember?
A vision board.
a
Yeah,
visualization
yeah,
board.
Yeah.
yes. And so she was preparing this for her year ahead and putting things on there so she could visualize
Oh,
next
wow.
year.
I might
Yeah.
need to have a go at that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was
Yeah, it could be a
Michelle.
really powerful tool. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, we need to do more of it. We need to have a
Yeah,
go.
I think we need to have a go
Yeah.
at that.
So one of the other terms that you use is andropause. So
Mm.
can you explain what the andropause is?
Yeah, andropause, basically we could summarize it as age-related testosterone decline. So
Right.
most of your listeners will probably know what menopause is, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's for females when your estrogen and progesterone, which are your two key female sex hormones, will fluctuate and then start to decline away. For men, our key sex hormone is testosterone. Now, a really important difference between menopause and andropause is, menopause can be a lot more predictable in terms of when in the life cycle it's going to happen. And it also happens in like a relatively short space of time. It might not feel like it when you're going through it, but we know you'll hit perimenopause, you'll have some symptoms, it'll fluctuate, then you'll go into menopause and you come out. And it's quite a narrow bandwidth of time. For men, what's happening is testosterone peaks typically in the early 20s and it declines 1 to 3% per year. So it's a little bit more insidious. It will just drop down, drop down, drop down. By the time when you're in your 50s, it could be 30 to 50% lower than it was in your 20s. So you're not getting these kind of like, oh, I suddenly like hit with a symptom. It's just like, oh, I'm sluggish. I've got low level anxiety. I've got no motivation. And there's two problems really. One is it can be confused with lots of other things that could be wrong with you. Normally, like people will just go for stress, right? But the other thing is because there's really low awareness of it, most men don't even know the term andropause or relate it to testosterone or know that they should go and get their testosterone levels checked.
I'm just curious, what if they go and get their
Yeah.
testosterone levels checked, and they're found to be quite low, what can they
Mm.
do about that?
Yes, so there's a few options. So you can go and get a blood test, and you can get one on the NHS. Your doctor might be resistant, but you can definitely kind of insist that they give it to you. I'd say if you're a man and you're over 45, they definitely should consider giving it to you if you've got these symptoms. And I'm talking about these symptoms persisting for a long time, not like, oh, I just feel unusually fatigued and I've got no motivation for a week. If it's going on for 3 or 4, 5 weeks or longer, go see the doctor. Simple blood test. It will give you your testosterone levels. If you fall in normal range, all well and good. If you're low, then the doctor will discuss options with you. Now, I'm always in favor of doing the lifestyle adjustments first, right? Because we know we can increase testosterone naturally by doing stuff through our lifestyle. Because the difference between HRT and TRT is, so HRT, again, your listeners will be familiar with, when you go into menopause, you introduce estrogen to the system. There is testosterone replacement therapy for men where you introduce testosterone. But the issue is this: when we introduce an exogenous hormone, like an outside hormone, we will shut down our own production. So it's not a case of, oh, I'll go on it for a couple of years and then I'll come off again. It's a lifelong commitment from when you start taking it. So that's number one to consider. Number two, it is contraindicated for certain men with certain health conditions, particularly things around like prostate and stuff. So that's really an in-depth with your GP, I'd say, before you go. And that's why I say always do the lifestyle stuff first. Because here's the thing, if you're really, really, really low, it might be that you need to go on it straight away to kind of even consider doing the lifestyle stuff. But if you're just low, do the lifestyle changes first. And I know your next question would be like, what are they? Just good health ones, really. We want to try and eliminate sugar from the diet. We know sugar is inflammatory to the gut, the brain, the body. It plays havoc with the hormonal system. We want to try and eliminate as much processed food. We want to introduce more protein into our diet, more whole foods. So to clean up our diet, limit alcohol, drink more water. But the key thing for men really is weight training, resistance training. So there's so much research on this. If we can resistance train 2 or 3 times a week, and the key is here, like compound lifts. So lifts that engage multiple muscle groups. So stuff like a bench press, a squat, overhead press. And we can lift fairly heavy, then we can actually elevate our testosterone. After every workout, we'll elevate. So if we continually do it, we'll continue to elevate human growth hormone and testosterone. So if we're doing that, we're getting adequate recovery. We're sleeping, I say 8 to 9 hours a night, because hormone recovery relies on sleep as well. We can supplement with things like zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin C, all super, super important for testosterone. Then we can naturally increase our levels. And I did this myself. So I took an NHS test and I was just under normal range, so slightly low. So I basically dialed back in my training, made sure I was getting sleep, took the supplements, and boom, I came up to middle of normal range within a space of about 6 to 8 weeks, I think it was. So that was just a natural increase in testosterone. And obviously, if you go that route, I know people will be going, oh, but I don't want to go to the gym. Well, what's the cost? Do you want to be introducing artificial chemical hormones to your body for the rest of your life? Or do you want to try this first?
Yeah.
Deal with that. So I know you're a public speaker. Do you go and speak about the andropause? Because it's not, I don't think it's commonly known.
No.
I mean, I hadn't really heard of it, and I would imagine a lot of people haven't. Are you having to go out and educate people about the andropause?
Yeah, so I do go out. It's one of my most popular talks, workshops that I give. And I started banging the drum on it even before I wrote the book, like probably 5 years ago. And honestly, people did not want to know. You know,
Mm,
I don't even know what that is, and who cares anyway? Was kind of sadly the response.
Yeah.
But there's been a big uptick. So I'm like doing a load of work, in-person workshops all around the andropause and men's health. So it's really great to see it starting to be embraced. But there's a lot of work to do because I think there was one study that someone did that they found 78% of men had at least one symptom, men over 45, but 82% had never heard of it. So
Wow.
yeah.
yeah,
And do you get a lot of pushback from women? Women kind of like, "Well, why are you trying to take our menopause from us? You've got everything else, men," you
yeah,
know?
Hands off
it's a
it's
great
ours.
question. Yeah, do you know what? I'd say in the last year, I've seen a real shift in attitudes to women going, "Oh, actually, you know what? This is important," because they're seeing men in their lives kind of start to suffer a bit. And it may not be a
Mm,
partner, but it might be a brother. They might realize that their dad was like that. It might be, a husband of a friend, and they're like, "Oh, actually, there is something going on here." When I first started to push this, I got so much pushback, and sadly,
mm,
especially from female journalists who are actually saying to me
yeah.
like, "Menopause is ours. Don't try and take it." And I'm like, "It's not.
Yeah.
It's not about taking it. It's not a competition."
Mm,
And also, in this strange age we live in, it's just like actually said to me, well, midlife men have had it so good for so long. Who cares anyway? I'm like, go look at the
mm,
suicide rate and then tell me that you're not interested. It's
yeah,
we can say that, and I'm not saying yes, the patriarchy has been in place for a long time, and men have had it good on so many levels, but I
yeah,
don't think we win by then just saying, "Well, now you've just got to suffer in silence on your own." It's
Yeah.
um,
yeah,
it's
Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
counterintuitive, and I think
Mm.
the other thing is, in a relationship, if the woman is going through menopause and the man's going through andropause, if neither of
uh-huh,
them is really understanding what's going on for them and they can't have a
True.
framework to explore it, it can be incredibly divisive. So
Yeah.
mm,
again, it's just giving a common language and a framework to understand what's happening and hopefully make relationships better.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that can only be, a good thing and a
Yeah.
Yeah.
positive thing, can't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So, do you have any advice in a nutshell for men listening?
Yes. Listen, I'd say if you've got any of the symptoms that we mentioned there, like you're feeling like you've got low level anxiety, motivation's going, you've lost your mojo a bit, maybe libido is something you're concerned about. You've noticed you haven't got as much energy, you're putting on body fat. You've got mental fog sometimes, and it's been a longer term thing. Like it's persisting, and you're over 40, 45, go to your doctors, get a blood test, then you'll know whether it's testosterone or not, right? It's a process
Mm,
of elimination. If it is low testosterone, to explain what you can do, you've got options. If it's not, then start exploring, what else it is. But I'd say in any case, just trying to take a few small steps to be healthier is going to help you no matter what. But I'd say an interesting thing, and this goes for men and women, there's an awful lot of focus, I think, in our culture and society on what I call the external fixes. It's like do the exercise, clean up the diet, and yes, we should 100% do that. But also, as we age, and as our hormones change, our psychology changes. We become more risk averse. We see the world in a more pessimistic light. So we should be doing
mm.
psychological practices as well to stay more positive, more grateful, and to go out into the world kind of in a really more positive way. So don't neglect that part of it. And a key part of that for men is build your networks, keep your friends.
Mm,
If there's a friend you've been thinking of that you haven't spoken to for a while, drop them a text now, pick up the phone, give them a call, meet them for a beer, have a
yeah.
chat about what's happening for you. It's so important.
And I hope that if men listening to this now do go to the GP, I hope they find a GP that actually is prepared to listen. Because I know even now, where we are now, some women who need HRT can still be fobbed off with an antidepressant, which
Yeah.
Yeah.
isn't what they need. They need HRT. So if women are having that battle, it's slightly worrying as to the kind of battle that a man's going to have.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it comes down to your GP,
Uh,
the NHS do an amazing job, but the thing is, the doctors are under such pressure. And I get it. I get it. The doctors don't want to be responsible for something happening down the line, and but it's a sticking plaster, right?
uh,
Let's just give you this to make you feel better, but it's not really addressing what the underlying issue is. And particularly if it is hormonal, then let's get to the bottom of that. And I think men will find a struggle because again, testosterone replacement therapy is not widely available on NHS. They really resist giving it out. The level at which you be at to qualify for it in NHS would be so low that you would be really, really struggling in life. And if I'm cynical, I would say, you know, that's probably expense related. If you suddenly started to doling out testosterone to millions of men as well, you know, what's the impact on the bottom line for Wes Streeting?
Yeah, for costs.
But
Yeah.
as you say, there are things that men can do to raise it. So
Mm,
that's positive on its
yeah,
own. There are
absolutely.
things, simple steps that men can take. Well, that's been fantastic, James.
Yeah, you've
It's
been
yeah,
absolutely fascinating I could sit and
yeah.
listen to this. Oh, it's been
I
really
know.
Thank
interesting
you.
and fascinating.
So what's next for you?
That is a really great question. Claire and I are working on a book together at the moment. That will hopefully be out next year. And then beyond that, I'm just looking to work with more corporates. I'm getting more engagement all the time, and yeah, just carry on as I am. And I've got another idea for another book ticking away, but I need to get the next one out the way first.
One at a time.
One at a
Yeah.
time, yeah.
That's brilliant. It's cocktail.
So yes, having mentioned that
Cocktail.
maybe you should cut back on alcohol. So we asked you to think that if you were a cocktail or a mocktail, what would
Mm.
your name be? What would the name of your cocktail be? What would be the main ingredients and why?
Well, so I'm going to call this the Jimmy's Margarita.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to go for the standard margarita first of all. So we want some nice crushed ice. We want some lime juice, lots of tequila, some
Like
Cointreau.
that, lots of tequila.
What do you do? A dash of agave. I don't like them too sweet, so a dash of agave. Shake all that. We'll go into your nice tequila glass, but then here comes the little kicker. We're then going to drizzle some full-bodied red wine over the top.
Right.
Sounds weird, but
Yeah.
trust me, you just want a thin layer floating on the top.
So it like floats as a red
Yeah.
line.
So why have you got wine in it?
Just to do something unexpected. I feel
What
like,
is-
you know, a
yeah.
margarita, if I was relating it to my journey, I'd tell you that the margarita is one of those like smooth, easy to drink, which I hope, yeah. But then adding the red wine just gives it a kick and something unexpected.
Very nice.
Yes, well, it will do. And it was called the Jimmy's Margarita.
And we're going to call it the Jimmy's Margarita, yeah.
Why?
Well, because I'm James, so
James.
Jimmy.
Oh, God.
Marie,
Oh.
you're fired.
Menopausal brain fog happening there.
It's great. That's the good thing about menopause. You can blame everything
You
on
can
it.
blame everything on it. Yes, of course you can.
I've lost all my things. It's definitely brain fog and not me putting them in the wrong place.
So just add in, you can be found at jamespdavis.com
Yeah,
and the midlifementors.com.
that's correct.
And you can also be found on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. You're
Oh,
a very
yes.
busy person.
Under
Yeah.
midlife.
All under
mentor.
Midlife
All
Mentors.
under Midlife Mentors, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, it's
Wow.
been great to meet you today, James.
Oh, it's been
absolutely
fantastic. Thank you, ladies. It's been great
Yeah.
being
And-
talked to by you.
We've learnt a lot as well. We have
Yes.
learnt a lot.
I'm going to be, well, when we put this episode up, I'm going to be saying, ladies, listen to this and then make your other halves listen to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or men listen
Yeah.
to this and make your other halves listen
Yeah,
to this.
and-
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, thanks ever so much, James. That has
Thank
been
you.
really interesting to hear and fascinating to listen to and very inspirational.
Brilliant.
Oh,
Thanks
thank
a
you.
lot.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you to our guest this week. And thanks for listening.
And we look forward to roaring with you again.